All right. Ladies and gentlemen, how is it going? Thanks for joining us. Number 200. +1 in the hundreds column. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is you, me, and BTC celebrating 200 episodes. We've done, 200 audio files before, but these are 200 official you, me, and BTC episodes. Holy crap, talk about this news this week. Not only are we celebrating for 200 episodes, but there is some wild Bitcoin news going on right now. Did not see this one coming for the life of me. So I need to know. I put in the show notes that friggin' nobody saw this coming. So, that's my belief. But hey, Tim and Zach, thanks for being with me. How's it going? Did you see this Bitcoin, this 2X cancellation coming?
Oh, are we allowed to talk now? Is it okay for everybody to hear our voices?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hey, yeah. So the music, I should say, someone tweeted me the other day and said, hey, 200 episodes, you better have some good music. So I pulled some music out of the shitter that is Jon Stewart's SoundCloud, and that's what we got. So, but yeah, hey, you guys can tweet us anytime, and we'll hook you up with some music or whatever you need. Go ahead, Zach.
No, I was gonna say I was honestly wondering the same thing because I follow a lot of people who always shit on the fork, and I wonder if it's something. Because obviously there were a ton of meetups all around the world. People are like, no, screw this. We don't want this. But I wonder if it's something they're all like, yeah, F that. But also, I think maybe all of them subconsciously thought there's like, it'll happen. We're just saying we hate it.
Yeah.
We're just saying we hate it so that when it fails, we're like, yeah, I told you so. But I don't think anyone thought they'd just be like, no, we're not doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I was serious. Like in the show notes, I said, like, just admit it. No one knew this was coming.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think I never saw anyone on Twitter say that, oh, well, they could renege. Or, Jimmy Song just a week ago, I didn't even put it in the show notes. I should have, so I'll look it up. We've been following Jimmy Song here and there quite a bit with the forks. He covers them pretty well. And he did an article recently that said, the game theory possibilities for the fork. How could this play out is what he was writing about. And he did write. He did say, well, either side could renege. The 1Xers could give up. That's one scenario. The 2Xers could give up. That's another scenario. But at the same time, he said, hey, by the way, guys, none of this is likely as far as I'm concerned. I'm just laying out the first simplest possibilities so that in a future article I can explain what I really think could happen. But these are the simplest possibilities and they're completely unlikely. That's what he said. I'll pull up some better wording and explain it some more, but yeah, so oh, geez, did we lose Tim? I'm only seeing his picture, so I don't know. Maybe he died or something, but I don't know. Zach, what do you think it means? That's the biggest question of all. I mean, what the heck is this? Is this a ploy? Are they seriously like, hey, happy community, let's be happy? I don't know.
Yeah, I think. Well, at least I hope. And so work's been crazy, and so I spent like 30 minutes or maybe even 15, I don't know, not a lot of time thinking about the fork being canceled. But I honestly think it's a super good outcome, to use really sophisticated language. It's a super good outcome because it means all of the sort of oppositional consensus that all these meetups and stuff expressed to the fork, they realized, all right, if we go ahead with this, we're going to be continuing something that an overwhelming majority of people don't want in our community. And based on that, maybe we think like the technology and the upgrades and the like unique characteristics of our forked coin will go somewhere good. But they valued, at least in my opinion, my impression is they valued what the community wants better than what they think is better for Bitcoin. And that's like, everyone should welcome. So like people put like no 2x and all their handles and all this nonsense, but people should welcome them back and be, or at least just be like, hey, we realize this was a huge project you wanted. Everyone thought it was stupid, but you were going for it, and then paused and said, maybe that's not the greatest thing. And like, that's admirable in my opinion, at least. They said, some tweets I saw from Andreessen and other people said that they like aren't just giving up on it completely. Maybe they'll work on it and it could be launched in the future at some point, which, okay, whatever. But I just think it's an incredibly good thing that they listened to all the feedback and just said, yeah, all right, no, I don't think that can be overstated how important that is on several levels.
Yeah, I think I generally agree. I have some more thoughts that I'll get to momentarily, but I want to throw out another quick welcome to everyone that's here and remind people to check out our landing page. This is you, me, and btc.com/live. This is where we already got some chat going on. How's it going, Flapping Plemis? How's it going, NY Cartoons? Some douchebag named Tim Baker's in the chat. Screw him.
I want Flapping Plumbus to tell us one of these nights where his name came from. Like, what is that?
You know where his name came from.
Yeah. Are we getting lit? He says. Absolutely. Cheers to tonight. I got a little bit of gin and tonic here, so we'll see. Hey, it's got to last me 2 hours too, guys. For celebration, like we said last week, we are going 2 rock hard hours. That's what we got going on tonight. So stay tuned.
Why would you describe it like that?
What
is it? Because of Flapping Plemis? Does it just have you in that mindset?
The opposite of Flapping Plemis, I guess. Yeah. Hey, seriously, guys, we are going hard tonight. It's going to be a blast. We're going to cover all this freaking 2x madness. Like I said, I got a little more, well, plenty more we want to add, and some articles we'll go through. But also, like we've often done for special episodes, I don't know the specifics. We probably did this for episode 100. I think we did it for episode 52, maybe, for like a 1-year celebration. I don't know. We've done this often. We've looked back and reflected on the history of you, me, and BTC. So that's all coming up. I will share some favorite moments, some worst moments. You know, in the future too. The future, what's coming up for YMB? We said last week 2 episodes a week we're kicking into. Man, those other guys, those other Bitcoin podcasts are falling apart, hardly ever doing episodes. You know who you are. But we're kicking it up a notch.
Just trash talking them like Trump does to everybody else. Our attendance is fantastic. It's fantastic.
We have the biggest crowd in the country today. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I was going to say regarding, I guess I should turn off my screen share because who wants to...
Please do not show it.
Yeah, I don't know, Zach. I agree with you generally. In general, yeah, it would be a great thing. Yes, I love community. Yes, I want people to get along. The problem is, especially in Bitcoin, nobody's ever gotten along. True. So that seriously, begs the question for me, what's really going on here? I don't have any answers. I want someone to tweet me all their conspiracy theories. Seriously, tweet me at you, me, and BTC and tell me what you think is actually going on here. There was someone on the email list where this was like announced. Someone else replied in there and said, like, oh, hey, some mining pool operator said, hey, we're going through with this fork no matter what, and it's going to be big time, something like that. I seriously wonder what's going on. I mean, and this debate has raged and raged and raged for 2 years now, 3 years. And all of a sudden they're just like, oh, actually, yeah, it's okay. We won't touch the block size. I don't know.
But here's the thing. So that's true. Maybe I'm being exorbitantly optimistic as to why they sort of called it off. But the thing is, when this debate was raging over the past couple years, there was at least like somewhat moderate support on both sides of the fork and the core chain. Like there were tons of exchanges and tons of a substantial amount of miners and stuff that said, yeah, this fork's great, like let's go for it. But then from what it seems to me, at least over the past several months, that changed substantially to where all of these meetups and whatever Twitter statements and all those sorts of things where people just said, all right, no, we're not having this, and it's official. Nobody wants this. It's not going to happen. So maybe there is some, there are ulterior motives. But, and you're right, like the community is notorious for being very cynical and not really agreeing. But I think at the point where over the past couple of years, the debate has raged and people are sort of divided on it to the point it is where it was as of like a couple of days ago, where opposition overwhelmingly, like very demonstrably so, shifted to against the project as a whole. I think there's a difference between the contention in the community and then going forward with a massive fork that everyone has now clearly said, no, we don't want. But that's my opinion. I don't know. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it could be pretty legit. I mean, that they're just like, hey, we're seriously backing down, and that's about it. You know, well, for now, it's over. It wasn't gonna work. We weren't gonna get this thing going through without issues. So maybe they honestly do just want it to be over for now. But even then, you have to ask yourself, well, are they only doing this to look good? Because if they went through with the fork, they would have lost a lot of money because they would have had to mine the other fork because they had been supporting it or whatever. I don't know. You just have to ask yourself, like, okay, maybe they're legitimately backing down and they don't have any like plans or plots to wreck people in the future. But even then, even if they are legitimately backing down, it's like they're just covering their butts. They stood to lose a lot of money if they had to mine Bitcoin2X based on whatever math and the prices and whatever. And so maybe they're just like, all right, well, instead of mining that and losing a ton of money, and instead of, letting the fork happen and then not mining it because we're losing money, we want to avoid that. We want to avoid loss of money, and we want to avoid giving up any later than now. So why don't we just issue a statement? It'll look good because we want to keep the community and everything. And that's the best we can do. We got to stop it because we're going to lose a lot of money or a lot of reputation if we mine it and it doesn't work out. That's another question that goes through my head. But what do you think, Tim?
It's also just them thinking that, fine, fuck it. Like, if no one is going to come forward and then we're not going to get this whole big thing of support, then fine, fucking break the thing, and then we can say that we were right, and then maybe we can build the next thing. But at very least, I could see some people just being like, all right, good, fuck it. I hope you break Bitcoin now and everything go down so that you figure out why they thought that they should have been right. Or like, we just need everybody to come to our side, even if I think it's partly that, and then it's partly just with the way Bitcoin is and with the way people weren't really getting on with it. And yeah, they were going to stand to lose a lot of money, but it wasn't really going to go well probably anyway. Like the whole thing was just going to look bad. So why even do it? Because
right. Well, no, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like this is them covering their butts, because if they went any farther, they would have either had to stop mining Bitcoin2X because they were losing too much money, or they would have had to call it off even later than today. So yeah, it does seem like it's the wisest decision they could have made. I guess it's just laughable, not necessarily nefarious, but just laughable that they finally were just like, oh, all right, screw it, I'm done. So I'm not giving up the possibility of evil in there. Maybe they do have other plans or God knows what. But I don't know. Just at the very least, it's laughable, and we'll celebrate.
I mean, there's
And
always
maybe
evil. There's always.
maybe they'll regroup and launch an S2X ICO or B2X ICO or something. Then the SEC can handle them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, the thing is, in the headline for tonight, I said ... or is it? And that's a serious question. I mean, like I said, someone else, one of the mining pools, dropped on the email list and said, hey, we're going through with this. And they claim to have 30% of the hashing power, but nobody really believes them on that. But still, what do you think? Are people still going to try this regardless of the original people backing out? I guess it was, I'll pull up the email here. The original person that said, hey, we're backing out was Mike Belch. And supposedly he represents, I guess it's also signed by Wences Casares, let's go with, Jihan Wu, Jeff Garzik, Peter Smith, and Eric Voorhees. All of those names are on this original email. But the question is, even if all of them are backing out, do we still think somebody's going to try?
I mean, I still think Bitcoin forks are going to be the new ICO craze.
Yeah.
So I think like the Bitcoin Cash and the S2X, even though one of them happened and the other one didn't, are sort of like the serious, like we want to make something happen. Whereas like the Bitcoin Gold is like, all right, you were going to be an ICO and then you just wanted to fork instead. So nobody takes you seriously. But I still think a ton of people are going to try it. Like, why not?
Yeah, so speaking of Bitcoin forks, what a perfect opportunity to plug my other website. For that exact reason, because forks seem like they're becoming a thing in this space, the next altcoin craze and the next ICO craze, and then there's forks. Because of that, I tried to get a little bit of an edge on the market and start preparing for all the Bitcoin forks. So I have this website, Bitcoinratio.com, where you can see the ratio of all the Bitcoins to all the other Bitcoins. So we could come in here and say, what's the ratio of Bitcoin Gold to Bitcoin Cash, or the ratio of Bitcoin Gold to the original Bitcoin? Oh, there it is, 43 Bitcoin Golds per Bitcoin. And you could look at a monthly chart, but that's probably broken because there was no price, until a couple weeks ago. So if you're ever interested, that's bitcoinratio.com. And it is definitely kind of a beta or even like an alpha setup right now. It's just a super basic outline of what I want to do if there come to be tons and tons of forks that people need to rationalize, find the ratio between.
Basically, if everyone starts forking, you can come to this website and watch it all.
Yeah, and really the reason, even just with one fork, even just with the Bitcoin Cash fork, the reason I wanted something like this was because I don't care how much Bitcoin Cash is in dollars. Like, I just don't. Because when both prices started to go up, when Bitcoin Cash forked, when it forked, regular Bitcoin went up and Bitcoin Cash went up in terms of dollars. So I didn't care about dollars. So the only way I could find a good time to sell my Bitcoin Cash was by looking at the ratio of Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash. So that's how this idea was born. And this is what we have today. If you're interested, that's bitcoinratio.com. I think also, I'll just see if it works. I believe bitcoinrat.io also points here. I have the domain. Yeah. Actually, no. It's similar. I got to set it up to directly point or whatever. But anyway, I got bitcoinrat.io because it still spells out Bitcoin ratio, but it's Bitcoin Rat. So
is the Bitcoin Rat pissed that you bought his domain?
I don't know. I was wondering about that. I like Ratty on Twitter, but I don't know. He might
funny,
be upset. Yeah, definitely. So, oh geez.
Well,
hey, so
since you got your plug, can I plug something real quick?
Oh, frickin' right, do it.
So, I'm in the middle. Maybe it's the middle. I don't know. I'm not planning on dragging it on for too long, but I'm having fun with this ongoing series of articles at umeandbtc.com. And the second one was just posted earlier today on insane coin offerings, which conveniently also can be anachronized to ICO. The first one was on religious coins, Jesus coin and Christ coin, and I actually shared that article with Jesus coin on Facebook, and their response was hilarious. Maybe we can get into that later if we run out of things to say. So the second one is on food tokens, and it's just an absurdly long list of tokenized coins for edibles and drinkable substances. So check it out if you have a second. It's a pretty funny read if I don't say so myself, and you'll probably get a good laugh out of it at least.
Oh yeah, definitely. I believe that the short link there is working. It should be ymb.tc/food, because that's how he did his. That's the short link, and yeah, it does work. I just tried it. So go to ymb.tc/food, and that'll take you straight to that article. It is quite the hoot. So honestly, like everything you could think of: food coin, coffee coin, banana coin, bread coin, pizza coin, milk coin, potato coin, salt coin, candy coin, guacamole coin, beer coin, and beer coin. So
my favorite one though is synth horn, which is a token for a synthetic aphrodisiac made from rhinoceros horns. And I came across, I was like, there's no way I can't leave that out. So
yeah, I had fun.
Important for some of us, Zach. Don't make jokes.
I had fun doing the cover image for this just today. I put a bunch of their logos on the image. So right up there with freaking banana coin right on top. So check that out. And yeah, hey, I've got Zach. I got him committed to a freaking series here. So these articles are going to keep coming. And Zach is quite the writer. So, keep an eye on the website all the time. You, me, and BTC.com. So we have, let's see, who was it that said this? James Bond. First of all, screw James Bond. He's like, oh, great to see Tim Baker. Woohoo. He's the only reason I watch this show. Whatever.
You're just mad he shitted on your thing.
Bond is just Tim Baker's alias, and he comments in the chat.
That's why I left like 5 minutes ago. I had to go find James. He's a bot I made, guys. He just pisses Daniel off. He goes, Daniel, your shitty thing you plugged for 5 minutes is shitty, so fuck you.
Well, okay.
Also, fuck you for stepping all over Zach's joke, but whatever.
What was his joke?
Something about if you see, we can come to our Daniel's website to see people forking, which would be perfect, Daniel, because you bring porn into it. Everybody likes porn. And it brings.
I was wondering if that joke just sort of fell flat, but I thought it was hilarious.
I did completely miss it. So hit me with it again. How did this all happen? I didn't even hear anything about forks.
You were showing your website, and he said something like, you were just showing like the numbers. You're like, yeah, see, so whenever everybody's forking, you can come here to see it. And then you were like, yeah, but like I figured out the ratio so I could sell my Bitcoin Cash.
Oh, yeah, I guess I missed it. Oops. Geez. Well, hey, also earlier in the chat, before I forget, apparently there's Flapping Plemis's brother, Seething Plemis, is in the chat. So thanks for joining us, Seething Plemis. But yeah, so at James Bond, as Tim was alluding, James Bond said, "Oh, good idea, Dan, but CoinMarketCap does the same thing." Yeah, well, screw CoinMarketCap, mine's cooler. So yeah, my goal is just to keep it super simple. CoinMarketCap has like 150 different currencies, and I mean probably more than that, 1,200 different currencies. So I'm keeping it simple, keeping the graphs big, and not confusing people. So
honestly, so if I can, they're not paying me to say this, but at the risk of being sacrilegious, CoinMarketCap, honestly, I don't use a whole lot. And maybe you already know about it, but I recently discovered CoinGecko. And it's like next level compared to CoinMarketCap. They have so much more data and stuff that, like, they show how active developers are on continuing to improve the chain and a whole bunch of different stuff. So I highly recommend CoinGecko too.
Yeah, I've heard of them, but I've never really used any of these sites too much. Now and then I'll Google for a random coin and to see what the price is, and I'll click on one of these sites. But I don't check any of them constantly. But yeah, I know they're all useful for a lot of people. So the other one, one that I do hook into their API is cryptocompare.com. So, free shout out to them, I guess, because I happen to use them. So yeah, they got a good API, super easy. So, okay, guys, is that all the chat? Food coin ETF, guacamole coin, banana coin. That's James Bond and 21 million coin going back and forth a little bit.
Yeah, never mind.
21 million Club says, I'd like to cancel your hard fork poll today. I don't get it. I actually didn't even do a Twitter poll today. I don't really know. Did I put a poll up today? I don't think so. I don't really know what he means, but yeah, let me know what you mean, 21 million Club.
He probably wants to cancel your 2X poll just like they canceled 2X.
Yeah, probably. But I didn't even. I'm seriously. I can't think of any polls that I've done recently. Did I put one on Twitter? Maybe I did. I have no idea.
I wouldn't worry about it too much.
I'm freaking gonna die. I really need to know. This is like killing me.
No, he said no. I'd like to cancel your hard fork poll today. Like he's telling, like in a questioning way, like, oh, so there's no hard fork poll today.
Sure. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, I'll set up a poll right now. I really will. So I'm turning it over to.
He just said I was at. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's what he said. Now he explained it. But so yeah, so I will. I'll set up a poll, but that means that while I'm distracted, Tim and Zach have to get some back and forth going. So,
Zach, tell me more of your pornography jokes.
Well, actually, I'm fresh out, but I've had a lot of fun with. Well, I guess I'll just go ahead and plug something else I recently discovered. We don't. Wait, let me pull up the URL real quick. We don't really talk about altcoins too much, and we've talked about talking about them more, but we've never really talked about them more. So if you're interested in ever dabbling in increasing your holdings or just sort of investigating other coins as they're released, there's a technical analysis trader who originally traded commodities and a little bit of Forex and stuff at venturecoinist.com. Super solid guy. He has a Telegram channel that he dumps a bunch of analysis and videos and resources in. Trying to remember his name. I was messaging him. Oh, Luke Martin. That's it. So just Venture Coinist, as in like venture capitalist, except coin. And he has a library, ton of resources. That's my hot take for the afternoon or the evening. Jeez, evening.
Me. Wait, you have anything else?
No, I was gonna kick it over to you, Tim.
All right, thank you. Kick it right over here, Zach. I've been trying to figure out what Flapping Plemis is, but all I've done is I think found his YouTube page. So if you're still listening, I just watched you crash your bike. That tree looked like it hurt. Besides that, I've been mostly pissed. I sent a phone in, or I took a phone in the other day, and I've been meaning to ask you, Daniel, but I'll ask you too, Zach. I broke a phone like 2 years ago, and I kind of just kept it because I had a little bit of Bitcoin on it. Like I think like $45 because I'm trying to be conservative, but it was back when it was like $200. So I finally was like, fuck it, it's enough. I'll take it and I'll pay for it to get fixed because it's like $150. My issue now is I don't know that I remember the PIN. Would like a factory reset of the whole thing would that erase huh?
Oh yeah, it would erase your PIN so you could get into it, but it would erase everything else.
Yeah, erase the keys and everything. Okay, that's what because that was.
No, I was gonna say sorry. I don't really care about your phone, but So I want to see how many people will go follow Flapping Plymouth on YouTube right now.
Because it's an icon.
And here is his video of him crashing a bike. Let's get to the. Oh, it's called. Oh shit, he's going.
Yeah, no, he goes and then he just drives like straight into it. No, that's after it's already broken, Zach. You're past it. You have to go back like halfway.
Oh shit! Oh my god, Flappy. It's like, okay.
That's that Bitcoin money in that bike.
Shit.
It went to Daniel right whenever he crashed. Like you just saw the
So everyone, please show him some love. I don't know who you are, dude, but nice work.
All right,
okay,
so
you're saying he's his brother.
Screw his brother. So I am currently, as we speak, pasting in the new poll or the poll for tonight. So that I'm hitting save this second. And the question is, the big guys pulled out, but will anyone still try to start a 2X fork? So if you're watching on the website, you can just refresh. If you're not there yet, you can go to meandbtc.com/live, and you should see the poll at the very bottom. And there's a couple options here. No one's going to try to do 2X. Not going to happen. Option B is yes, but it will fail quickly. And by that, I just mean it's just not really going to go anywhere. It might last a day. It might struggle along for a week, and that's about it. Or option C is yes, and it'll last a while. Kind of like Bitcoin Cash has done. Like, yeah, the price isn't great, but Bitcoin Cash is still a thing. You can still use it. It still is in like the top 5 market caps for cryptos. So that's an option if you think it'll last a while. Or if you'd like to start my fork, you can vote that too. So that's.
And I read something earlier today that some Bitcoin transaction fees can now be paid in Bitcoin Cash. I don't know how that works exactly.
No, you know what it is. So there is a pool or a website. I'm not going to try to say which one because I don't remember, and I'll probably get it wrong. But there's a pool that allows you to try to accelerate your transaction. So the idea is that if you put out a transaction, but your fee was too low that no one is accepting it, then what you can do to try to speed it along is directly pay this mining pool. And basically what that means is, and so you could pay them with whatever, dollars or Bitcoin Cash. It doesn't really matter, but you're paying them in advance. And once you do that, they'll look at your transaction, and regardless of the fee, no matter what the fee is, even if the fee is nothing, they will do their best to include it in the next block that they mine.
I see.
So that's basically then, because normally the miners look at the transaction fees, and obviously they take the transactions that include the most fees. Of course, who wouldn't do that? Because they get to keep the fees. But if you pay them in advance, then they're like, oh, well, I don't care if there's no fee on this transaction. They paid me for it earlier, and so sure, I'll go ahead and mine this transaction anyway because I can.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and apparently they accept Bitcoin Cash. So, oh boy, yeah. So anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. We still got lots of chat scrolling by, so yeah. There's a poll now, so get over there. Venture Coinist. This is Rick Stefanowski. He says, Venture Coinist sells memberships. Looks scammy. Zach, do you pay for these chat rooms?
No.
What is he talking about?
Not a scam. I mean, well, I don't necessarily know that I have proof for that. Maybe it is a scam, but I don't pay for the chat rooms. No. What I do though is he
said do.
He has 2 free Telegram channels that he also just updates and dumps a bunch of information. And so that's what I see. And there's honestly a couple thousand people in there, and they all share charts and altcoin technical analysis back and forth. It's a decent, small and new, but decent community if you're interested in sort of getting your feet wet with some altcoin trading. and they don't trade fiat for altcoins. All they do is trade altcoins to increase their Bitcoin holdings, and he just sort of moderates it. And so he does have paid channels where he's, at least from my impression, I haven't done an extensive background research on him, but he has experience in financial trading of all sorts of assets and foreign currencies and that sort of thing. As far as I understand, that's what I think his background is. And now he's just taking that into altcoins, other cryptocurrencies. So he has free and paid subscriptions. I don't pay for it, but the free ones make me think that the paid ones are not scams, because he puts a lot of effort into the free ones and always gives good content. So yeah, there's that.
All right, there we go. Flapping Plummus says, I am an ethical miner. I accept all fees. Okay.
Are you a miner? Are you a miner actually, Flapping?
No, we can't talk to miners.
Yeah, that'd be inappropriate. NY Cartoon says, yeah, that happened to me on a few transfers. I went with the low fee, took hours. So that's referring to how, Zach was asking if you could pay for transactions with Bitcoin Cash. That's what NY Cartoons is referring to, how he got stuck a few times where he didn't pay enough for a transaction and it took forever to go through. So, and the thing is, that problem can cascade, because if you're waiting for one cheap transaction, but you can still create a transaction based on coins that are not yet confirmed. You can do that. Just because you haven't confirmed the receipt of these coins, you can still make a transaction with them. They just, the second one just can't confirm before the first one. They can both confirm in the same block. People will do that. But obviously, you can't have the second transaction confirm before the first one. But that can cascade the problem, because if you send a transaction and you don't pay enough, and then you need to send more, then on the future transaction, even if you do pay enough fees, it can still get held up by the first transaction that it has to wait on. Now, some miners recognize that, and it's called child pays for parent. And some miners will look at all of those transactions and say, well, the first one doesn't really have a transaction fee, but if I confirm it, I'll also get to confirm the second one, which has a great transaction fee. So yeah, I'll go ahead and confirm both in the same block. That's how the child pays for the parent. Some miners do that, but my understanding is that not everyone does it to the same extent. So you can still have cascading problems where you have one bad transactions and it just kind of locks up those coins and you can't really spend them for a while. So that's what I've heard. Anyway, I'm not an expert. Oh, geez. So we are hitting about 46 minutes here, and I want to know, well, okay, so there is, like I said, there are some people that are still going to go through with the hard fork, or they claim to. And that's what the poll is about. Do you think that's going to happen? But with regard to that possibility, there's another great story that I have in the show notes here. The headline is, the B2X trade between Charlie Lee and others isn't completely off yet, as the SegWit2X fork will happen. That's the headline from newsbtc.com, written by JP Buntinks, and we've done several of his stories before, if I recall. So do you guys know about this trade, the 1,000 Bitcoin bet between Roger Ver and some others? Did you guys catch into that?
Yeah, so if it is what I think it is, the bet was, actually, maybe it's not what I think it is. But I know someone whose name I'm not remembering right now. I don't remember. But one with these big guys wanted Roger to have Roger send him all of Roger's Bitcoin, and Roger would just have Bitcoin Cash now, because if he believes in it so much. And maybe that's not at all what you're talking about, but that also was a thing that they were trying to figure out over email. I don't know.
It's similar. They might have done this with Bitcoin Cash. I'm not sure, but this one in particular is with 2X. And basically what they did was they each side, Roger Ver put up 1,000 on one side. And I think there were a couple people that put up 500 each on the other side, something like that. Yeah, Charlie Lee, Roger Ver, and a few others. So I don't know all the details, but yeah. So basically, on each side of the bet, there were 1,000 Bitcoins, and after the fork, Roger Ver would get 2,000 because, as we've explained before, but if you don't know that when a fork happens, you get, similar to a stock split, you get both kinds. So when Bitcoin splits into Bitcoin and Bitcoin2X, then if I have 10 Bitcoins originally, then after the fork, I'll have 10 Bitcoins still, and I'll have 10 Bitcoin2Xs. So that's the simplest way to put it. And so if I guess it would come out to 4,000. So if each side puts up 1,000 Bitcoins today, there's 2,000 in this pool. Oh yeah. So it is 2,000. And so basically the whole bet basically just says after the fork, those 2,000, there's going to be 2,000 Bitcoins in the pool, and it's going to split into 2,000 Bitcoin and 2,000 Bitcoin2X. Roger Ver would get all of the Bitcoin2X, and whoever's on the other side, Charlie Lee et al., will get all of the regular Bitcoin. So that's how the bet works. Basically, I'm going to put up 1,000. Actually, it's not even a bet. It's like, hey, I guarantee you that after the fork, I'm going to give you, Roger Ver, I'm going to give you all of 1,000 Bitcoin2X, and you're going to give me 1,000 Bitcoins. That's how those were the terms, basically. It was a 1-for-1 trade is really what it was. They're betting ahead of time that the future 1-to-1 trade would benefit them. So anyway, all I was saying was that bet is not off yet. So I'll read a little bit here. B2X is still in the game. Whether or not that is good news for Bitcoin remains to be determined. Another altcoin riding Bitcoin's coattails isn't exactly something we need right now. Then again, there may be more support for this new currency than people think. In a lot of cases, people just want their free B2X coins and sell them on the open market as soon as possible. Yeah, that was funny. You were complaining about that, Zach, weren't you? That
yeah, I'm so bummed that the fork didn't happen because I wanted free coins. Like, oh, that's why I'm a huge advocate of forking. Like, I don't care. Do it all the time. I'll take all the free coins and I'll dump them, but I'll still take them.
Exactly. Yeah, it's basically what would you call that? The dump races or something? First to dump gets the prize.
yeah.
Apparently, I don't know though. That's a thing. The only way you can dump is if somehow there's someone on the other side of that trade buying, and I have no idea who would buy during a dump. But I guess that's just the market.
And that's something I've wondered about too. That people, so there's all these people saying, "Oh, all these chains are scams and they'll die out and all that sort of stuff." But is it ethical then to sell the coins if you think it's a scam and stupid and going to die out? Because you're selling something you think is a scam and making and profiting off of it, which means you could be complicit also. I don't know. Right. So I don't think it's a scam. I'll take the free money.
I'll bet you 1,000 Bitcoins that Tim is going to be like, screw those people. Just freaking sell it. That's the market, okay? They agree to it. All right, so what is it? Tim? What's your take on that one? Ethics. Tim doesn't really have morals.
What kind of morals do you have, motherfucker? I at least admit I don't. You're over. Oh, I'm a very dedicated person. I care about things. Oh, Mr. 21 million, let me make a poll for you so now I may feel good. Anyway.
Where did I ever even remotely claim that was morally good for me to do that?
No, you didn't. That's not what I was talking about, though, because we're not having a moral argument, Daniel. We're just having an argument. So all I can do to just drag you down is whatever I'm going to say.
Okay. To prove your point that you don't have morals? Or
Point that you're just as bad as me. I'm like the Joker.
Wait. Before, do you guys remember? Did you guys watch Community? I forget.
Yeah.
There was the one. It was in like season 1 or 2. Like, are people good or are people evil? Of the debate team, and like at basically the conclusion is, I mean, spoiler alert, but the conclusion is like they're in this big debate, and I don't know, someone kisses someone, and is like, oh, that's proof that. Gosh darn it, I give up. I can't remember.
You already talked about mean people and good people. No, I wouldn't.
I like
worry
Community. That's all that matters. I like Community. You should watch it. I can't remember the details, so I give up. But yeah, Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say too much more than what you said I was going to say.
All right. You owe me 1,000 Bitcoins.
I owe you nothing. Give me some of your money. Give me some of the gin and tonic.
I would in a heartbeat if I physically could. So therefore, people are good.
You can ship it. You can do like an overnight for $50. No, that doesn't show. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm remembering this episode a little bit more now
I remember
you, so people are bad.
Let me get this out there. I remembered it. So on the team, there's one team that is arguing that people are good, and one of the debate leader is in a wheelchair. So at the conclusion of the debate, he just like speeds his wheelchair and like launches out of it at the other team who is arguing that people are good. And out of reflex, the team that somebody catches him because he's flying out of his wheelchair, and he just catches him. And he's like, there, see, people are good because he just caught me. Okay, whatever. But then somebody on the team kisses the guy that caught the guy in the wheelchair. So, and then he drops him. So that's the punchline is he was horny, so he dropped him. Therefore, people are evil. So anyway, I'm sure I did not do it justice to that still. So watch Community. And give me 1,000 Bitcoin.
No, just donate to Zach and I.
Oh, too bad you guys can't. There's no way for them to donate to you.
I'll start putting stuff up on my Twitter. I just need people in the chat tell me they're going to send me money. I feel like it too much. I feel like a fuck. Just like putting it in like my Twitter bio. I'd feel like too much of a shiller.
Panhandler.
A panhandler. Yeah.
Panhandler.
I already look like too much.
Okay.
Nothing.
What?
I didn't say anything.
I feel like I already look like too much of the poorest person as part of this podcast, so I can't start like, give me something, sir, please.
All right. I don't know where.
Yeah, well, I'm not afraid. So there, send me something there, and we'll be good to go.
All right. So hey, I have one more tab that I meant to get to for Segwit2X, and then we got to get into some reminiscing. So that is coming up here momentarily. I do, like I said, though, I said this at the beginning. I was going to pull up Jimmy Song's article and mention just a few quick things from it. So I'll do that to wrap up Segwit2X. So in the first paragraph here, he says, hey, a big caveat here is that I don't expect any of these scenarios to come to pass. So, he was explaining first order scenarios, which is like the simplest possibilities. But then once people know about those, it's a game theory thing. I'm not a game theorist, but this is my understanding is that, first order is just like simple possibilities. And then there's second order where it's like, oh, well, if I know that he's going to move his rook to that square, maybe I should go here and here. That's second order, and where kind of what could happen. So you make different decisions. And then you could extend that and say, well, I know that he knows what I could do, so I'm going to do. Anyway, so it goes on and on. But he says, yeah, a big caveat is that I don't expect any of these first order scenarios to come to pass. And the very first scenario that he describes, scenario number 1, that he doesn't think will come to pass is, quote, 2X is abandoned. The easiest scenario to analyze is where the New York agreement signers decide to collectively not fork at all. In this scenario, all the miners, merchants, wallets, and services that enter into the agreement collectively decide to reverse course and not run the 2X software at block 494784. And then he describes it a bit more, but he basically says at the end, given how close we are to the actual fork, this would be a massive credibility hit and is unlikely to occur for that reason. So that's all I wanted to say is, Jimmy Song did not see this coming whatsoever. It was a first order possibility. Sure. Yeah, that's a simple thing is they could just give up, but nobody would ever do that is what he said. And yet here we are. So that's what's driving all these questions about, is this really what's going on? Are there other motives? But, we already discussed that. So if you missed it, scroll back to the beginning of the show, I suppose. All right, guys. Are you guys ready to reminisce?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm constantly just stuck in something like that, yeah.
You're stuck in reminiscence? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't like living my life in the present. I'm completely driven by what is in the past and my past actions.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I mean, I just said that just to say something, but I think that legitimately probably is an issue sometimes with me.
All right. Well, that's Tim for you. So, hey, before we get into reminiscing, I'll just do a thank you and a reminder to everyone. Head to btc.com/live. We've been hitting the chat all night long, so you're welcome to jump in there and let us know what you think. Let us know if you're flapping Clemus's brethren or whatever. James Bond says, thanks for the coin gecko. So apparently that was a good shout out for Zach to make. And he also says, LOL, Tim wears the wife beater. LOL.
I'm not even wearing a wife beater this time. I did last week.
Yeah, that's right, James. Your favorite guy is not even wearing a wife beater. That's what
I'm so sad now.
Geez. So, Tim, you've done this before, but I need it again. I need to know how this endeavor has made you feel emotionally and how you've grown through YMB. So we did this. Oh, geez. It was actually as far back as our 1 year anniversary. We did a series called the 12 Days of YMB Christmas, where we did 12 days in a row. We put out some kind of snippet or an interview or a monologue or a regular episode 12 days in a row, leading up to, I believe, our 50th or 52nd episode. And one of our monologues way back when was basically, hey, tell us about the show. Tell us what you've learned, how this has gone. What do you think? So, Tim, I want you to tell me again what you think about the show, how it's been, where it's gone, what you liked and didn't like. While I search for that episode and pull it up, and we'll play some clips from it. I honestly, I didn't plan this. I have no idea what he said in that episode. So,
yeah, never mind. I like that Daniel has at some point along the way developed an ability to talk in radio voice now. So I like kind of listening to him talk. I like him just being able to talk in general. We've made it a long way. I get to complain about Daniel with Zach now, so he's a little bit better than John. John and Daniel are both like barely emotionally functioning. So at least Zach and I kind of balance it out a little bit. I have another person who isn't just like, the computers probably should rule everything. Everybody's stupid, and we're really smart when we design Bitcoin ratios. What I haven't liked, Daniel being a tyrant on this show and generally trying to make me feel bad and try to ruin me emotionally. So that's how emotionally things have gone. No, but I like probably if Daniel and I weren't doing the podcast, we probably wouldn't talk to each other. Maybe. I don't really know.
That's a good question.
Probably. Like
That's
if we
really
started it, like there'd be no real reason for you to talk to me. That's just Bitcoin. The Bitcoin just brings everybody together. But yeah,
I don't know. I still text people now and then from high school.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't get shit on half the time, so maybe it would be better. Daniel would like actually try to be nice to me when he texted me, like, "Hi, how are you doing?"
Yeah, yeah, right.
What else? What else is good?
Hey, were you being serious about my radio voice? This is the You Me and BTC podcast.
And BTC. See, I don't know. I can't stay in the BTC. Welcome here, guys. This is the new You, Me, and BTC. What else do I like? There's people chatting now. That's pretty cool. It's not just Daniel chatting at himself and then me occasionally like signing in as different people and going, hello. I even had to disguise myself as some guests a few times so Daniel wouldn't freak out. I actually am M7, aka Bitcoin Bell, aka
what?
Whatever her name is. I just put on a wig.
So Flapping Plemis, I can't skip this comment. This is important. All right, really important. Flapping Plemis says he does have a decent radio voice. And I'll tell you what, Flappy, that's not even through YouTube. It's a piece of crap on YouTube because it's all live and online, so it has to be compressed, and I can't edit it or anything like that. So it's a piece of crap on YouTube. If you really want my good radio voice, you can scroll back to the pre-recorded podcasts, which went up to about. Oh, that's a good question. When did we start doing the recorded? The live YouTube streams? I have no idea when we started those. So I'm scrolling through right now and trying to stall so I can figure that out. But anyway, if you do want a good, an even better radio voice, yeah, you should scroll back. So it looks like we did pre-recorded episodes up until number 151. I guess 161 was our first live YouTube regular show. So, listen to the older ones. Anything 160 or earlier, and my voice is even better. I'm sorry. I'm tooting my own horn today. I'm sorry.
Like, that's different from any other day.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, Zach, we're going to get to this lost Tim audio because I really want to know what he said all the way back in year one. But Zach's new around here, but I still want to get some thoughts from him. Where are you at with this whole show thing? Has it been fun? Has it been annoying? Have you learned anything?
It's been the worst 3 months of my life. I never want to talk to these guys again.
No, it's been a blast. I remember, it's funny Tim mentions Dan's radio voice because people probably can't understand this, but Dan and I shared a room for
they can definitely understand.
That's not the part you probably can't understand. Dan and I shared a room. There was one bed, a very small chair in the corner. It was
it was a nice comfy place.
But the thing you probably can't understand because you weren't there is when we were sharing a room, there would be normal Dan sort of watching online poker, drinking tea out of a massive mug, waking up sometimes for class. And then there would be, before I started getting on the show, there would be Dan sitting at his mic like he is now at his desk. And I would walk in and it's just like, Dan Brown with the radio. And I'm like, the first time I walked in, I was like, what the hell's going on? It was,
yeah. Are you talking to the police?
Well, it's true.
Dan has developed a great radio voice, and it's funny. But
part of it, it's not just the voice. Part of it is I don't talk in real life. I don't talk to anyone.
That's true.
Unless they like make me. Like even like my coworker sits like 2 feet away from me every day. He's like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? I had to gotta get you to talk a little bit. So I'm gonna ask how your day was last night." I'm like, I really don't care. I'm not.
I'm the exact same way. I used to work across from this girl before she quit, and we would work. Our desks were facing each other, and I would find out later that she would tell my coworkers, "Working across from Zach is an exercise in sitting in silence for 8 hours." I'm like, I'm here to work, and you are a terrible conversationalist. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But I can relate. And so Dan and I first started hanging out when we'd smoke cigars outside of our dorm, and we wouldn't talk. We'd just be like, yeah, and then
just smoke. Just sitting there, just like
the cigars were really good. But So then eventually Dan was like, I forget the first episode I was on for. I was probably just talking about something dumb I did by selling Bitcoin or buying some more or something.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know when the first one was.
And then Dan was like, hey, you didn't screw it up royally, so if you want to come back sometime, you can be on another episode. And then here we are today, where Tim and I are banding against Dan, and he's
Yeah, I know. That's what James Bond. What did he just say? Like, hey, I don't mind Tim and Zach, but Daniel's freaking annoying.
He didn't say that. He just said Daniel not so much.
Yeah, he said I like Tim and Zach. Daniel not so much.
Yeah, it's because you're a fucking tyrant. James Bond looks up to the little guy.
I am not a tyrant. Tim, go start your own show right now. Go do it. Beat me,
what?
Tim.
What?
Beat me. Go do it. Start your own show.
I will.
Do
I
it.
have
Do it.
I have fucking money. I'll fucking have my family pay me. I'll drive right out there now. I don't give a shit. My season's ending. I don't cut grass anymore. There's snow on the ground.
Go? You want to go? You can come cut my grass.
You better step the fuck up, Daniel. Step the fuck up right now. Fuck you up. I'll fuck you up. I'll fuck you right through Google Hangouts.
I'll take these headphones out.
Bring it on. Come at me, bro. Let's go.
Oh man. So yeah, it's been a good journey. I love it. It's always fun. It's fun.
Apparently, it's been a good journey for us. Apparently not for John. He's like, well, screw that journey. I'm going on a different one.
John's like, wife pussy.
Well, I actually texted Dan, Tim, you might find this funny. I don't know, maybe not. But the other day I texted Dan when I wasn't sure if you were going to be on. And then I think you had missed another one too. I was like, Dan, ever since I started doing the show, John's gone and now Tim's not doing it. Should I just stop?
Should I just let you do this by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Rick Stefanowski says, hey, Dan, how was your day? I don't really care. Yeah, that's pretty much me. I don't really care. That's yeah. Hey, if anyone hasn't caught on yet, we've hit the 1 hour mark. We're heading into hour 2, and from here on out, we're just gonna have fun. I miss some of those days because with live shows, you feel like you gotta keep the headlines coming. You gotta keep the news. You gotta keep the chat going. And that's all fine and dandy. Keep it going, whatever. But hey, I've actually been seriously considering starting a kind of I have no idea what to call it. We've made like back porch podcast or something. I've been seriously considering just a super relaxed and banter podcast, like talk about whatever. So that's what's coming up for the rest of the show here. We're just gonna go on and laugh and who knows what. So,
and honestly, I don't think enough people realize that. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I don't think enough people realize that with how toxic, sometimes, I guess, at least how contentious the Bitcoin community is. Yumi and BTC is the anecdote that everyone needs. Everyone needs to just watch Tim and Dan and me be stupid.
And at the end of the show, you have to be able to laugh and say, I don't know what, I don't care, whatever. Okay. That's our goal for the end of every show. Laugh and grumble mumble. So maybe that's our next show. Grumble mumble.
Grumble mumble.
So hey, I just remembered, speaking of my radio voice, it sucked way back in the day. I would do my intros. It sounded something like this. Let me see if I can. All right. I'm going to try to imitate from memory. I haven't listened to any old shows in a while, but from memory, it sounded something like this. This is the Yumi and BTC podcast. Welcome to episode 54. Today's show, we're going to talk about how, I don't know, what did we talk about back then? Like, how we're speaking with the CEO of Amagi Metals, who thinks, this and this and this. Let's get to the show. All right, so that's how it was back in the day. I'm about to hit the play button on this episode, but I need to tweak some audio settings real quick. So I apologize if anything loops back or sounds weird or whatever. Give me about 2 seconds. We'll get there. We got this. Line 2. All right. So, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So here it goes. This is a super old episode, and with Tim's monologue, but I'm assuming I introduced it. So here goes nothing.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Hold on, I should say, because I've screwed this up in the past, and I know I'm picky, but this is one of the worst things ever. You guys are going to have to not talk again while it's playing, because if you guys talk, it mutes this, and for the listener, it's all screwed up. So
This is the You, Me, and BTC podcast.
Cryptocurrency decrypted.
Welcome to day 4 of the 12 days of YMB Christmas. Your host for today's special is just Tim Baker, and we're going to get right to it. So here we go.
oh geez, so that's my intro.
Classic. Sounds like you've had a little too much Christmas eggnog there or something.
Yeah, luckily that was a short intro, and most of them were about 3 times that long.
That's funny. That's classic.
All right, let's see what Tim had to say. We'll get back
That's my
into it.
manifesto. Merry Christmas, everybody, or whatever other phrase you prefer over that. I don't really care that much. Yay, I'm your 4th day of our 12 days of Christmas, You, Me, and BTC extravaganza. So you get me today. I know everybody's happy about that. I've already heard Daniel's, and I wouldn't really trust everything he said. He's completely capable of doing. Well, no, John's necessary. I add a voice, and I help. I'm not necessary. I think Daniel went a little bit too far with that. But anyway, as part of our 12-day extravaganza, we want to do.
I want to add here for anyone listening on the podcast that Zach's having a good time. Actually, Zach and Tim are both having a good time. Tim thinks he's real important.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know, but apparently Tim doesn't trust my monologue. Which is probably
I had a voice. I'm necessary. I'm necessary. I'm necessary.
I can't wait till in another year or two, we're going to be playing this episode to reminisce, and we're going to playing this episode within this episode within this episode, and then it'll be another year or two later, and we're going to play YMB Christmas Day 4 within episode 200 within episode 506. And we're just going to be laughing about ourselves and laughing about ourselves. So,
Are you
all right,
threatening
what else
the people with this, or is this supposed to be good?
How is that a threat?
I don't know, man. Just play the dumb audio.
Some giveaways. It's shameless. That's not shameless. It's we have a little bit of shame, but it's just promotion. It gets out. It gets people excited. So we're gonna keep on doing that, and we'd love for you guys to get involved in it. So we're doing some giveaways. These go along with a hashtag that I'm going to give at the end of this episode. There's a new hashtag every single episode. So if you haven't already had this explained to you 3 times before, there's a hashtag at the end of each episode. You tweet at us at You, Me, and BTC. You tweet us the hashtag, and then you're entered to win some prizes, which include some home roasted coffee from John Stewart. He's kind of gotten into that. As far as I know right now, that'll be a pound of coffee, I believe.
I totally forgot about this giveaway. I don't even want to know how many Bitcoins we gave away back then. I don't know. It's probably I think we gave 1 to 10 millibits to 20 different people. So
yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't know. What would that come out to? Probably at least 0.1 Bitcoin, probably more like 0.5 or something. I don't know.
I
Through that.
Before Daniel starts this again, fuck do I breathe loud? Jesus.
well, that's actually, most people don't think of it, but that's actually one of the hardest things about audio editing is what do you do when people breathe? Do you keep it in? Do you cut it out? Do you amplify it? Do you soften it? Because most
Why would
audio,
you amplify it?
Well, no, I'm saying when you edit an episode, there's a tool called a compressor, which makes quiet things louder and louder things quiet so that everything's leveler. And so if you just run that tool on a podcast episode, breaths are normally quiet, but it's going to automatically amplify them because that's what it's supposed to do. And the question is like, well, do I leave it that way? Do I somehow cancel out the breaths? If I'm trying to remove background noise, and do I remove the breath as well? It's a big deal. So
I didn't mean to make you angry.
Do I look angry? All I'm saying
Yes.
is,
What are you talking about?
I am kind of sweaty. I'm not gonna lie. I got these stupid lights on me, and it's friggin' 100,000 degrees in here. Man, I went outside on the porch last night. It was 67 degrees, and I was like shivering. I was dying out there.
It's 20 here. It's like 12 degrees.
I know. This place is messing with me. Oh, jeez. Well, I want to check the chat before I get into the audio again. Okay, most code guys don't speak much. That's from NY Cartoons, and he's right. I am a coder. I'm a web developer, so maybe that's why I don't speak much. Zach, oh hey, here's a good one. Zach, can we have an update on your friend who put his whole portfolio into Tezos? This is a question from Rick Stefanowski.
Sheesh.
And if anyone doesn't know, kind of the issue there is that a bunch of people are like suing Tezos for like maladvertising or whatever. So, any news, Zach, on that front?
Yeah. Wow. Good memory. So I actually texted him. He doesn't work with me, but he works at the firm that I'm at right now. So I texted him about 2 weeks ago when I think the Wall Street Journal had an article about the class action lawsuit that people are filing against Tezos, and said, hey, buddy, what do you think about this? Like, you have a lot of money here. And he didn't respond for a whole week. Like, I saw him at work, and he still didn't respond. And then he texted me this. I'm hoping it won't really affect things. If anything, the attention will only do good, I think, generally to bring awareness to the fact that other blockchain technology exists besides Bitcoin. Hype in the media will drive up the price, but there is the risk that it could cause uncertainty and drive things down. I think I have X number thousands of Tezos. I really want the price to go up. LOL. So
Yeah,
I guess it's safe to say
I'm sure you do hope that.
Yeah, of course he does. But in spite of a class action lawsuit and people trying to run off with the money, I think it's safe to say things aren't going too well for him right now. So,
well, I don't know. Maybe with the lawsuit, at least he'll get something out of it. I don't know how likely that is to succeed, but
yeah,
it could happen. All right, what else? What else we got here? That intro was totally lit. Yeah, it was. That's flapping Plemis referring to the intro from this old episode. NY Cartoons, that is a super good question. What's the story with John? Is he done with the show? And then James comments, I think John got a life, married with kids now. But no, that's seriously a good question. We joke about how much he sucks, and he does. But I don't know what's up with him. I don't know if he just kind of quit responding when he quit even saying like, "Oh, I'm busy tonight. I got a thing." Yeah, no, he doesn't even respond now. So if you're listening, John, maybe this is our good marketing episode. We can have a comeback show. Like when Ric Flair returns to whatever or whoever comes back to the ring. We'll have a comeback show for John. Mario Lemieux comes out of retirement. Whoever, name your famous person coming out of retirement. You think we could? What?
John just comes in and turns heel, and then he just starts shitting on the podcast and playing music of us. I think that's the big go-getter here. He comes back as a bad guy, and then just makes fun of us instead of having him return. We need conflict. We need more conflict. You're bad, but not bad enough.
Yeah, manufactured conflict. It's the best marketing you could ever hope to have. So, hey, if anyone wants to start a rival Bitcoin podcast, go head to head on Monday Night Raw. Let's do it.
Monday Night Raw. Are you ready for the Raw?
Yeah, no, I seriously though, I'm not joking. I have no idea what happened to John. He might have died. So, for all I know. Okay, more audio from Tim Baker. What do we got here, Tim? Give it to me good.
One of the prizes includes some silver, some Bitcoin, which I'm pretty sure anyone listening to this probably is interested in getting, and also one of Jon Stewart's CDs. It's very good. It's good music, especially if you like more.
Oh, speaking of Jon Stewart, super valuable CD.
It was good
those
music.
those things sell for $100 a pop these days.
Do you still have your copy?
I don't know what I'd really classify it as. Probably just like folkish. It's interesting. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not very good with genres. Anyway, right now our sponsor, he's helping us with some of these giveaways, some of the stuff to help get our name out there, is Rollin.io. It's a dice site, a gambling dice site. I know Daniel he definitely gets into stuff like that. Gambling isn't so much my vice, but if it is, then as far as
Hey, they were seriously a great sponsor. So I don't know. I don't even know if Roland is still operating, but they seriously were a great, a well-designed gambling site and just a great sponsor. So for whatever that's worth, they were cool.
everything I've heard from Daniel, it's a good site, and he's helping us out a lot. So go out and check him out if you're into anything like that. So Daniel, when he told me I needed to talk for a while, he gave me some suggestions as what I could talk about. He said I could maybe talk about like a favorite episode, which the only problem is going through those, I'm reminded of what I sound like, and I just can't listen for that long. So I was trying to think about what I wanted to talk about, and I've heard what Daniel talked about, and he talked about, if you haven't heard about it, about how Bitcoin, how he's kind of grown up a little, or not grown up, but his views have changed, how just coming into Bitcoin, getting involved with it and all that stuff, and how it's changed him.
Okay, that's actually, I've said this a lot on the show. I don't remember saying it super recently, and I love bringing it up, so whatever. That's seriously the first year of this show, which is the point that we're listening to with Tim here, was right up at the end of the first year. I seriously, and like I said, I've said this before, I've learned so much from Tim, and about about liberty, about freedom. I had no idea what any of it was for a long time. But you can seriously start with episode 1 and 2 and 3. Literally the earliest episodes. And I'm asking questions like, well, what if, how does democracy do this? And what does this have to do with Bitcoin and all kinds of stuff? And it's a whole journey. The whole first year is my journey to manhood with regard to freedom. So that's, if you care, it seriously is. I'm not joking. Like I just learned so much, and you can watch me learn throughout the episodes. What, Tim?
You can watch me learn. You can come on a journey of knowledge with me. No, I was it's whatever. I was just picking on you. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were this thin-skinned. I'm sorry. I get there after 200 episodes.
It's okay. I wasn't upset about anything. Calm down.
You're just getting kind of sensitive, man. I think all the people yelling at you on Twitter.
Okay, calm down.
It's okay. I just need to
take a deep
down.
breath.
Everybody whisper.
No, but yeah, seriously, well, the way I normally phrase it, which I'm sure I've said on the show, like most people say that they got into Bitcoin because they were libertarians or because they love freedom or whatever, however they put it. Most people say that, the ideology came first and then Bitcoin. For me, it's the other way around. I thought Bitcoin was cool. I got into Bitcoin, and then I learned all about the ideology behind it. Now, with that said, I also, when I think about it, I had a lot of these libertarian tendencies earlier on in my life in various ways. I had all kinds of freedom-oriented tendencies. So it's not like Bitcoin made me this way completely. It just helped me understand what all of it meant and why I believed a lot of this stuff, and helped me clarify a lot of those beliefs. So there's a little bit of my reminiscing. That's a big thing that's happened to me throughout this entire show. I'm always learning, always, correcting and, getting a better radio voice or whatever it is. I'm always making progress in this show. So back to Tim.
And for the sake of not doing the same thing, and because I don't have that much that's changed with me in relation to Bitcoin, I figured I'd talk about it a little bit differently, from a little bit different point of view. I don't know, I may have mentioned it before, but my life has just been kind of weird this past year. Nothing like, it's not like my life's falling apart, at least
Tim and his weird life.
to me. It very well may be to anyone looking in on it. I don't.
Now he's giving me the finger on the video because he knows he's not allowed to talk.
I fucking hate this show. I take back everything else. This has been an exercise in futility. I just do this so I don't get fucking angry at normal things in my life. I have to deal with Daniel every week. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm mostly just angry at myself right now.
I feel like with this right now, at least for me, I'm sitting in a marriage counseling session for Tim and Dan. Like, oh, we learned so much from each other. Just kidding. I fucking hate you. Oh, good times. No, fuck you.
Do you remember the kids? Yeah, they were nice until you left them, you fuck.
Yeah, that's John.
No, yeah, John left us. He was the dad. Fuck, we're done now.
Well, either that or he was like our teenage kid who just like left us and gave up on us. Like, screw them. I'm going to go be my own man. Jeez. All right, here's Tim again.
I don't know. I don't have that. I don't have the privilege to view my life in third person. So 2014 has just been a weird year. I've been going a lot of stuff that has just changed around me, changed with me, changed just a lot of different, like, change in a lot of stuff, except it was weird. It was weird always having this Bitcoin podcast I did, and I would go back and forth between how much I was interested in Bitcoin and how much I wasn't. Beginning of the year, I was definitely very into it, which, not unsurprisingly, the price was very high at that point. I think in January 2014 was right before the big crash, and it was around, I think it was around 1,000 in January.
$1,000. Jeez, we were rich. Man, that's a lot of money for back then.
I had a fuck ton of Bitcoins then. Don't remind me of this bullshit, okay? I've yelled at so many people recently about how much money I would have fucking had.
What'd you do with it all?
What happened?
Coke and hookers?
What?
Coke and hookers?
No, most of it was actually when I'm trying to remember 2014. I have no like particular recollection of, I guess, yeah, I was 20. I think that might have been right around, I had this, it wasn't even surgery. It was like a procedure that this doctor was like, oh, you should definitely get this checked out because some other tests they did. I ended up not having anything wrong with me, but the whole thing ended up, after insurance, cost me $3,000. So I sold a bunch of Bitcoin to pay for that because it was somewhat high up. And I was like, oh, I might as well. Yeah, I mean, I need to pay this. And that's rough. His name is Leibensberger. If anybody knows him, fucking punch him in the face. He's a fuck, and he has a giant nose. I hate him. I had to pay $2,000 for a man to stand in that room and do nothing.
Dang.
But
I'm not going to comment because I don't want to get in trouble when Tim gets slapped with this slander lawsuit. But you know, I'll at least recognize that Tim just said something important. So
thank you.
Oh, geez. Now back to old time Tim.
So obviously, I was very much into it. I made not like a ton of it, but I definitely made money on it going up. And then it started to fall. And I kept telling myself I didn't care about the price, but I did notice that I wasn't as enthusiastic about it normally, no matter how much I told myself that I was. I just wasn't, because it was just one of the reasons why I got into it was as an investment, kind of, or not as an investment, or just a speculation to see if I could make a little bit of money. And with that kind of dying away, I guess it just lost some of that spark. There were a few.
Just lost some of that spark. We used to have such a spark.
I have I'm like, I need to speak creatively.
No, but seriously, that's actually an interesting point, and it's worth bringing up now. How much of our excitement about Bitcoin is tied to the price? I mean, Tim, I'll bet you 1,000 Bitcoin. Tim's going to say, well, of course, all of it is, because who cares? All we care about is money. All anybody cares about is money. So if the price goes down, everyone's going to get depressed and jump off a building. So what do you think, Tim? How much of our excitement is tied to the price?
Well,
1,000
I would say
Bitcoin
most
bubble.
of it, just because then it at least if someone goes, "Why the fuck do you care about that?" You're like, "It's fucking $7,000. Why the fuck would I not care about it?" So it's like it gives you some. The price going up gives you some like some reason that people aren't just gonna look like you're a fuck just because you're like, it's online money and you don't have to keep your money in the central banks and they won't take it from you and you can move it. What happens if there's a bank run? There's like no bank runs don't happen. Everyone looks at you fucking crazy. If it goes up though, it gives you some reason. It's also just more exciting. But I do think there is definitely a force behind Bitcoin, whether it's the libertarian ones who are looking at it as that thing of we need to get away from the banks, or there's even not libertarian to socialists who have the same thinking that way, and then also it just being a decentralized thing looks good to them. So there is some ideological stuff behind Bitcoin. I think without that, you wouldn't see something like this build up, because even the people selling and buying and making money on it, I would say most of the reason why they trust in Bitcoin is, yes, again, because of the price and the history of the price, but also there is that hardcore group of people who are like, Bitcoin can change the world. And that's part of the reason why it goes up and down, and why I'm sure some people do have more faith in it than they would if there wasn't if it was just a technology or something like that, and not somebody saying that this was something to bring us up and break the chains of man against government and all that shit.
Yeah. Speaking of stuff not being tied to the price, one episode that I liked, that I remember thinking about recently, was an episode we covered an interview with Amir Taki, where he was like, "Oh, nobody cares if we don't need Bitcoin to go mainstream. We don't need the Bitcoin price to skyrocket. What we need is for Bitcoin to remain truly free." So I want to say we did that episode a year and a half ago, maybe. And the article was from even, I think, like a year before that. But that came up again recently, because with Bitcoin being so full, there's so many transactions and still a 1 megabyte block size, it gets expensive. That's been happening a lot lately. And I've seen some people pointing out the Amir Taki article where he's like, "Hey guys, so what? So it's expensive. At least it's free." And so that in that way, if you really have that ideological stance, then you don't have to be so worried about the price. But can you really commit to that when everybody really does want money? It's a tough trade-off, because everybody loves money. So I don't know who wouldn't. Okay, let's get some more old Tim in here. Here goes.
Times where we do a story and I'd kind of get back into it, but I don't think I really had as much interest as I had since the beginning of the year, until we went to the Bitcoin the Beltway conference, and this is jumping about 6 months. I think we went in, I forget exactly when it was, in June. I think it was mid-June though. But it was after that I really, because going to the conference, seeing all the people talk, getting to talk to them in person, and hearing the panels about what Bitcoin could be used for, and I guess just that whole feeling of being surrounded by people who didn't look at you as some kind of, either there's the one thing of you're a computer nut conspiracy person. Sometimes that's the more, I guess the more drastic reaction, or as, I guess, just like, oh, you're just like a dreamer, like this won't work out, like this. And you go to something like a conference and everybody's for it. And not that it was.
Man, I do miss those days. I wish it's simply a timing thing. I don't got crap time for conferences anymore. But that was so much fun. We totally lucked out going to the one conference that actually had interesting people instead of just like get rich freaking company business people.
Do you know how much money the blockchain is going to make us? I'm still
Yeah.
pissed we missed Cody Wilson, but I understand that because I think he still might get arrested at some point. I don't know.
True. Yeah, but no, we seriously, like, I knew nothing about any of the speakers at the time. I'm just like, oh, Bitcoin conference, yeah, and it could have easily been one of these big commercial things, but it wasn't. It was like the closest, friendliest event we've ever gone to. I wish they could still do it, but you know, they did it the 1 year and they couldn't afford it anymore or whatever. I wish more people were into that kind of conference and could make it worth their while, because that was a blast. That was Jason King from Sean's Outpost doing Bitcoin in the Beltway down in DC. So yeah, I miss those days. We had some great sponsors there too. They got us there.
I mean, you can run into problems with it being too fanatical of a devotion, but it didn't seem like that. Now, again, I'm probably biased about that, but it wasn't, people weren't, Bitcoin is our savior. It was, look at this new technology. We can build on this. We can make this better, and think of all the possibilities that this opens up for us. So that was probably the highest it's been since then. I have noticed it has gone down, not as much as it did before. I'm still decently involved in it. But like I was saying, I'm not sure if I was really making the point that well, but Bitcoin it's gone through a lot. And like this year we had the Mt. Gox declaring bankruptcy finally, and all the fallout from that. And there was other stuff like the IRS made its ruling on Bitcoin, and that brought up a lot more questions about what was going to be taxed, what was not going to be taxed. So a lot of stuff that I remember from this year had to do with regulation. It seemed like it was going through all this change and everything. But and we did see change in the price moving around and everything. But Bitcoin, it still stayed the same. I guess I'm trying to squeeze a little bit too much poetics, or not poetic, but symbolic stuff out. But even with that, Bitcoin, it's still there. It's still standing. I mean, with all these things, all the people who always say it's dying, it's dead, it's not going to be useful with this, it can't survive this, it's always still there. And even though the price will change, and even though stuff like Mt. Gox goes down, or there's just more impending regulations, or what seems like that, it's still here. And there's going to have to be something really bad, I would think, compared to what's happened already. There's going to have to be something bad that happens to really.
So that one's actually huge, because that's what we're still going through today. All this crap, all this hate in the community, all this, forking going on left and right. All kinds, way more articles even than there were 3 years ago. Way more articles about how bad Bitcoin is. Way more tax rulings and legal battles. Way more, where was I going with that? I don't remember. Tax battles, and I swear there was something else I was going to say. But anyway, yeah, we're facing all this stuff all the more today, and Bitcoin's still there. So I'll give you kudos for that one, Tim. At least you said, how important that was, and how Bitcoin can just survive anything. Seems like that's working out. All right, let's get some more.
Really put it down, because every single time we're told that Bitcoin is falling apart, it just seems to get a little bit stronger. I don't mean to be one of the people who just always defends Bitcoin, but
that was actually the title of this episode. I called it Bitcoin Resilience. And with this YMB2X thing, I saw a lot of people saying like, hey, guys, it worked. Like, Bitcoin survived this bullcrap, and it's going to continue to survive. It survived Bitcoin Cash where it did fork. It survived Bitcoin2X where it didn't fork, at least not yet. Like, it's the honey badger. It don't care.
Does seem like people say like, oh, Mt. Gox is terrible. I'm like, but this just showed you why Bitcoin was good, is because it's not involved in a financial system like what our financial system is, where stuff just gets bailed out. The bigger ones get bailed out, the smaller ones kind of get stuck. I don't mean to talk about that too much because we've gone into depth with it plenty of times on other podcasts. But I guess just to say that, remember, I think Bitcoin's here. I mean, maybe not necessarily Bitcoin, but I mean, cryptocurrency is definitely here to stay. It's like what a lot of people say, you can't shoot a line of code, or you can't.
That's a good line. You can't shoot a line of code. NY Cartoons in the chat coming in hot says Tim does a good show when he kicks back and thinks out loud. Gotta love it when Tim thinks out loud. But yeah, no, yeah. Hey, actually, I totally agree. There have been a couple times where Tim has just gotten a monologue on the show for quite a while. That's when he's at his best. No, when he just rants and rants.
Not always.
That's a good point.
There have been a few.
Yeah, once in a while. It depends. It depends what you're ranting about and how you can't force a rant. But if you really care about something and you just let it flow and think out loud, yeah, you'll nail it. Which reminds me, I should have said this like 12 times already in the show. Hey, 2 episodes a week, guys. That's another part of this big 200 episode celebration. We are prepared more or less and about ready to go for 2 episodes per week. And the plan is probably to have the second episode be a monologue with a random host, whoever's available and interested to do a monologue, probably on the weekend. But even that's a guess. I don't know, Mondays or something. I have no idea. But yeah, so anyway, 2 episodes a week is coming up real soon, guys. And maybe that's where Tim will get some extra chances to shine. So all right, just a few about 2 minutes left in this. They're short episodes, so we'll get through the whole thing here.
Threaten a line of code to do what you want because it's the line of code. It just does it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is just that Bitcoin, this past year, it's been hard. It's seemed bad. There's been times where it's been really bad. And there's also been times that it's been really good, both for my personal experience with it and just for Bitcoin in general.
What a freaking philosopher. What I'm trying to say is times have been good.
What you don't understand.
Times have been bad. Things are hard, but Bitcoin survives.
But it's stayed around, and it's come through a lot this past year, and I think that's great. That's good for Bitcoin. It only makes it stronger. So I'm really just excited to see what happens in the coming years, and like to start seeing like some bigger change. Like I think all of us are hoping for the day that it gets some more traction, some bigger acceptance, not only for the hopeful price rise, but also just to actually start seeing all these changes and let people start implementing these things that they're talking about, these great ideas that can hopefully push us into a new age of money and a new way of doing business like that. So there's my happy holiday season talk. Hopefully Daniel can use this. I was going to use the hashtag give me free stuff. So you can do that, I guess. Hashtag give me free stuff and tweet that at UMeanBTC and hopefully you get free stuff. Thanks. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thanks for listening to our 4th Christmas special. All of the music in today's show was from John Stewart. We'll see you tomorrow for this week's regular Thursday episode.
We'll see you tomorrow for this week's regular Thursday episode.
You don't even sound that weird there. That was better in the beginning. The beginning sounded like you were just zonked out on Xannies or something. Wait, where are my shoes?
So I still use that soundtrack, that banjo-y little tune. I still use that every couple weeks for our closing music, because John hasn't come out with any new music on his SoundCloud for like Oh, I don't know, a little while. I'm actually looking it up right now because I seriously want to know. His last published SoundCloud was 2 years ago. So he gave up on everything. He gave up on us, gave up on his music. He's got nothing left. What a sellout. Guys, we still got to do advice of the week. But I'm reminded, speaking of music and closing songs, we used to do a song of the week. Now, we did it. This is when we did our live radio show, which we didn't actually record it, I don't believe. I could be wrong. I don't think we recorded it. So we literally streamed to the internet, had a great time, 2 hours a week, and then it disappeared into the abyss just for fun. But any ideas, guys? Like I want to play a closing song, but at the same time, I don't really know if I can because YouTube will block the episode if it's like a real song. So I don't know. Maybe I can. Maybe I'll just have to pick another random thing from Jon Stewart. So I'll see what I can find. But hey, advice of the week, guys. We got to do that first. What do you guys have for us? What have we learned today, this week, last week, this year? Yeah, we are coming up on New Year's. Not too far away, so we'll have to make our Bitcoin resolutions again. But you got anything for us, Tim? Any advice of the week?
Keep your Bitcoin. I'm going to predict it. It's going to drop in the next 3 days, and it's going to go to $4,000. And then I'm going to buy 2 of them, and then it's going to tank again, and I'll go down to like $50, and I'm going to lose all my money. So that is what I'm predicting.
That is that's a serious concern. I mean, it's such a huge question because it's like you just said in this episode, like, oh, back when it was $1,000, I probably should have sold some. Well, is that where we are right now? Are we going to crash to like 2,000 or 3,000 for a couple of years? It's happened before, kind of. So, yeah, I have no idea. No idea if I should sell now.
A couple friends. I was at a happy hour with a couple friends earlier this evening before I came here to this shithole, and they were asking me, they're like, "Well, what happened?" Because someone told them that I'm involved in Bitcoin. I hate talking about it with people because they just look at you like you're fucking bonkers. But someone told them, they're like, "Well, what if it crashes?" Like I heard one time it crashed because of the Chinese talking about Mount Gox. I was like, yeah, I hope it does crash. Then I'll get more. And they just looked at me like I had 3 heads. It was the great. And I just finished my beer and left.
We're freaking right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that puts it on me for advice.
So yeah, my advice of the week is buy the fucking dip, as they say.
Buy the dip.
Nothing wrong with that. Hey, I'm going to say, I've said this several times on episodes like this, but it's good advice. Stay committed. Stay committed to what you love. Have a good time. Do something with it. That's what we did here. We had fun with Bitcoin. We still do. So it's not even that hard to be committed because we love it. And let's do an episode every Thursday. So, yeah, sure. Yeah, find something you like, commit to it, and have a good time. I know it's easier said than done. I mean, people fret all the time over, like, what should I do with my life? Should I do this? Can I make money? Should I do this? And yeah, I know it's hard decisions and whatnot, but hey, if you can make it work, find something you love, commit to it, and have a good time. Guys, thanks for joining us. Anything to add, guys, before we wrap up? Oh, I just clicked over to the chat and a whole bunch went scrolling by. So what else did we get here? Rick Stefanowski, what did I hear? 2 episodes a week? Yeah, that is correct. We're getting there. Real close. So keep an eye out for that. Flapping Plymouth says, GG. Yeah, GG, Bob. Rick Stefanowski says, John obviously no longer has any Bitcoin. If he did, he'd be interested in doing more shows. That's a very real possibility. Maybe he sold his and just totally lost interest when maybe he sold it at 1,000 and now it's at 7,000 and he's feeling spite towards Bitcoin. That's a real possibility.
Yeah, he's just angry.
One day you're forking, next day you're not, says NY Cartoons. Rick says, what is your answer to noobs who say Bitcoin is in a bubble? That's a very good question. Do you guys have answers? Because I actually just today, one of my coworkers asked me that. Like, hey, like it's happened before. It crashed from 1,200 down to whatever, 300, 200 for like a couple of years, right? A year, at least a year. Like, is that going to happen here? Are we in a bubble and we're going to crash? Like I said just a minute ago, are we going to crash down to 1 or 2,000? And the answer, I don't have an answer. I have no clue at all. But I've said this before in the show, like, I don't have the emotional stamina to guess. I don't have the emotional stamina to guess if we're at a high, or if we dip down to 5,000. I don't have the emotional stamina to guess if that's the low, or if we're going to go down to 3,000 or any of that crap. I cannot make those decisions because I'll probably fret and worry and lose. So I have no idea where we are right now. I'm not going to worry about it. But what I can tell you, and this is this is good for advice of the week too. What I can tell you is the same thing. Don't worry about it. Long term, I have very little concern. So it's still, not financial advice. It's always possible that we could crash forever. But for me personally, the way I think of things is that, hey, Bitcoin long term, gonna be up long term. Yeah, maybe we will crash to 2,000 for a couple of years, but then we'll do 10x. And we'll go up to 20,000. It's happened. It literally, we're in the midst of it right now. So that's kind of where I'm at long term. I don't worry, but you never know. We got Jeremy Bennett saying, I love this show. Hey, thanks for joining us, Jeremy. I'm assuming I always see you leaving a thumbs up, an hour or 2 or 3 after we post the show. But maybe tonight, since we're going later, maybe that's why you're jumping in the chat with us. So thanks for joining us. Maybe, I don't know, maybe your schedule doesn't allow you to watch live until today. But hey, that's what we're here for. And we got another episode coming, another episode every week coming here pretty soon, if you want more of this show that you love. So, guys, it's been a blast. I did find, just for kicks, I did find the soundtrack that I want to play. So I'm going to get that going and start fading it in for our last few minutes here. We'll see if we can wrap up just as the song closes. I'm going to say another quick shout out to the website, youmeandbtc.com. If you want to get to this episode in particular, you can go to youmeandbtc.com/E200. That's how we do any of our episodes. /E200 will get you to episode 200. So, but every week we will, as long as we're live anyway, we will update the /live redirect to point to the current show. So, yeah, I guess that's it, guys. I have been Daniel Brown. I guess I can't let Tim and Zach talk because I got the music going again, and YouTube does as YouTube does. But Zach's giving us a little handshake there, whatever that's called. So, yeah, thanks for joining us, Zach. Thanks for joining us, Tim. It's been a blast. I'm going to let this song go for a while. I went with, it is still from Jon Stewart because there's no copyright. And a little bit of Taylor Swift rock action. So that's how we'll wrap it up. Hey, we still got about 2 minutes of this song to go. If you have any last comments you want to drop in the chat, you can totally do that. Yeah, Jeremy confirmed my suspicion. He said, I've been listening a long time, but my schedule usually means I miss the live show. That's right. Shaka. That's the hand thing. Shake, whatever. Peace out, NY Cartoons. It's been a blast. He says later. Rick Stefanowski says 200 exclamation point. It's been a fun celebration. I'm glad that I get to just talk now and don't have to listen to Tim and Zach. So, cheers. I'm head bobbing a little bit. Thanks to everyone, wherever you're listening. On YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Give us a comment. We'd love it. On Twitter, give us a retweet. a follow if you're not following us yet. At you, me, and PPC. You can follow us on Spreaker if you really want to. I don't really know who uses Spreaker for that purpose, but you could. What else we got? An email list. Head to the website. Look for an email field or just wait for it to pop up. Get ready for 2 episodes a week. Oh, hey, seriously, with the email stuff, we've been cranking up our content output lately with Zach's help, and some of my other friends have been helping out, and then we're going to do 2 episodes a week. So we are seriously cranking up our content. So, yeah, if you want to keep up with all of it, you got to follow us somehow, whether it's Twitter or email or whatever. You can keep up with all we got. NY Cartoons tossing us a beer. All right, guys. We're about ready to call it. It's been a blast. Here's to another 200 episodes. Bye. Go hard. Get money, get paid. Peace out, guys.